So for today's session, we are going to have a little look at a clock. And I said before on Monday that we're not looking at how to tell the time right now because it is so tricky. And until really the children have got their 5 times table, then it's really hard to understand they go round in 5. So we don't need to worry about telling the time just yet. But the more we can sneak in here and there, the easier they'll find telling the time. Okay, so you can slip bits in at home like, oh, it's power maths time. That must mean it's 1 o'clock. Or, oh, it's talk for writing time. It must mean it's 9 o'clock. And we do the same at home. Oh, look at the time. It's 10:45, time to tidy up. So they're not fully understanding where it is on the clock we're looking at, but they're hearing all these different time phrases and hopefully it'll help sink in as we go along. So we're going to have a little look at our clock today. Okay, and what number starts at the top? It's a 12, isn't it? So we've got 12 at the top and then we go round. This is called clockwise and it's because the clock points this way around as it goes around. So it starts at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Okay, so we have 12 numbers in total and on our clock we have one big tall hand. They're called hands. Think of your hand going round like this. We've got one big tall hand and the big tall hand does, oh wrong way, does the minutes. Okay, so our tall hand does the minutes. So every hour it makes a full circle around this clock. Okay, and as you can see, when it's gone round, the small hand has gone from pointing at the 12, and it's now pointing at the 1 because it's 1 o'clock. So if we go round again, the blue hand's going all the way round for a full hour. And look, it's now pointing at 2. It's 2 o'clock. One more time, fast speed, all the way around. It's now 3 o'clock. So the big tall hand goes round lots and lots and lots of times a day, whereas the red hand goes a little bit slower and points each time it's moved to a new hour. Okay, so it's got a long hand and a short hand. So they're the bits we're going to look at today. We know we've got 12 numbers and 12 starts right at the top. And we know we've got a long hand, which is our minute hand, and a short hand, which is our hour hand. Now, in your packs, you will find this today. And it's making your very own clock. Now, in the corner, it has got some instructions for you. So it says, number 1, write the numbers in the circle. Oh, my goodness. So you're going to have to make sure. I might use a pen for this if I were you. So it's really big and bold so you can see it from far away because sometimes pencils are a bit too faint, aren't they? So let me move my camera down. Here we are. So we've got our clock and I've got to make sure I start right at the top in the middle for my 12. And a 12 is a 1 first and then a 2. Okay, 12. And then we start back. If you're not sure what comes next, have a look at your clock. What comes next? And you're right, it's a 1. Now at Dunkirk, when we write 1, we just draw a line. We don't do any extra fancy bits because sometimes the fancy bits make it look like a number 7. So we just do 1 straight line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we're back at our 12 again. So we should have 12 and then start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's our numbers done. Now number 2 says cut out your clock. Now let me come back up again. You can cut out your clock and leave it as it is, but if you want to, this is your clock. You can decorate this clock if you want to. So if you want to have a go at colouring it in, that's fine. That would look beautiful. You colour it all in one colour or in stripes. But my one tip would be, do not colour in the circles with your numbers in. These circles need to stay blank. Otherwise, you won't see your numbers very well. So I would keep them blank. And if you want to do any colouring, you can do it in the big space here. So I've started colouring mine, but I've not finished. But I've started to colour, if you can see, my lovely blue in the middle, but it's going to take me a little bit longer to fill in all those other gaps. So I'll pause now and I'll finish off my colouring later. So I've done the middle bit. You can colour all of yours in because you'll have more time than me. So once you've coloured it in and you've got it looking exactly how you want, then you need to use your scissors and you need to cut round the dotted line. Okay, have a go with your scissors because the more you practice with your cutting skills, the better they'll become. Now, my trick is when you do your cutting, just do little tiny snips and keep feeding the paper around with your other hand. That's how I do my cutting. Little teeny weeny snips, never going right to the end of my scissors. And I always remember when I was in year 5 at school, we had a supply teacher for the day. And her tip of the day was never to go to the end of her scissors. And it's always stayed with me. So little teeny snips all the way around until you have a beautiful square clock. No, it's not square, is it? It's a triangle. No, it's a circle. So we've got a lovely circle clock. Now the next bit is a bit trickier because it's smaller. You've got to have a go at cutting the hands to your clock. Now this has got to be neat because we want to make sure that the long hand stays long and that the short hand is short. Otherwise we'll get confused, won't we? Because the long hand is the minute hand and the short hand is the hour hand. So here we go. Snip, snip, snipperoo, nearly done. So I've now got my long hand and I have got my short hand. Now to put these onto your clock, we're not going to use glue, otherwise they won't move, will they? You should find in your pack some safety pins. Ta-da! Safety pins. Okay, so you've got to manage to make a little hole where that black dot is and little holes where the black dots are on here as well. Now a tip for you at home is to have some blue tack and you're going to use a sharp pencil and you're going to poke a hole in it. But if you put blue tack underneath it, then you won't make a hole in anything else. Okay, so let me just make mine. Look. Made it through the back. Do the same with this one. So make sure you push down into your blue tack and then you won't hurt your hands or poke a hole in anything else because I don't want that to happen, do we? So now we've got holes in them. We're going to have to make sure that if we line them up, we can put the safety pin through the holes. Oh, mine fell out. Come back here, you cheeky little safety pin. Okay, so we've got the hands and then we're going to pop them through the hole of your clock. Now, when you've got it through, you need to open your hands of your split pin. Can you see? Whoa. Can you see it like that? So make sure you open it up and you put it through the split pin. So then, oh, my split pin's a little bit wonky. Not playing fair with me today, is it? So then once you've done it, then your hands should be able to spin round. How exciting. So you've made your very own clock. So now if I spin mine carefully, I can make it say 2 o'clock. Or I could spin it again and I could make it say 5 o'clock. You've made your very own clock. So have a go today making your very own clock and start with first just o'clock. O'clock. Okay, so your tall hand will always be on the top for o'clock and your little hand will start whizzing round. And as I said, just feed it in through the day, adults. So if you spot the time is 11 o'clock, go, oh, what time is it? It's an o'clock number. And see if your child can say, oh, it's pointing to 11. It must be 11 o'clock. Have a go today and see if you can make your own clock. And like I say, you can play games with it. You can say, show me 9 o'clock. And then one of you would have to get your clock and he'll show you 9 o'clock. Then the other person might say, okay, show me 11 o'clock. Okay, I'll show you 11 o'clock. So you've got to make sure your big hand is always pointing up. That's o'clock. And your little hand will tell you what o'clock it is. Have fun. Keep your clocks safe because you can use them at any point that you would like to. Use them over the weekend if you want to, but just have fun with it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week for some more maths, and we're going to be moving on from time to some more number work. So look forward to that, and I shall see you soon. Bye.